and welcome to Chit and Chat, a podcast all about encouraging others. Who needs encouragement? You? Well, we've got you covered. We reach out to musicians, comedians, and other organizations who are all about encouraging their communities. Help us spread the love by sharing this podcast. And now, here's your host of Chit and Chat, Jody Sheffield.
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode, and I call it a very unique podcast. Why is it unique, you ask? Well, it's an idea, a concept of a coffee shop that never came to be. Chit and Chat, I had the logos, I had the idea, but you know what? It costs a lot of money to do a coffee shop, and there's tons of coffee shops everywhere. So why not bring Chit and Chat to a podcast to share with you, and we can have coffee, right? So, I want that feel of you come home from work, you throw in your sweats, your raggedy, your grungy, Grateful Dead t-shirt, and just chill. Get your cup of coffee, or hot tea, or whatever beverage your choice is, a nice cold brew, I guess, and just chill. And this podcast is about chitting and chatting with people and encouraging one another, making encouragement contagious, sharing encouragement with one another. And so I began reaching out to folks all over. In my previous podcast, I've had conversations with CEOs, founders of different organizations, a comedian, a couple of them actually, a mom who wrote a book about her son who passed away at a very young age. And I truly believe everyone has a story. And by no means am I an excellent podcaster. I've been doing this maybe 2 months. I don't have the fancy microphones. I don't have the cool setup. I'm in my car half the time with my cell phone. But I love encouraging others. Today's guest is one of the premier independent country and rock artists in the PNW, aka the Pacific Northwest. In the 4 years, he has performed over 450 times. He has over 8,000 Facebook followers, over 2,000 YouTube subscribers, and nearly 600,000 YouTube views. I've had the honor to listen to him in person, as well as his Facebook concerts he streamed monthly on Facebook Live. We'll discuss that. On a side note, his couch concerts on Facebook Live several times broke Facebook, with the events exceeding past the 4-hour cutoff. I could be here for hours telling you about the many accolades, but I'd rather dive into some fun conversation, and we'll pick his brain on how he got into the business of singing, who got him encouraged, who inspired him. And we'll pick his brain, too, on some icebreaker questions. It is my honor and privilege today to have Mr. Joel Gibson on Chit and Chat. Kick back and relax. This is Chit and Chat. Hello, Joel.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much. Yourself?
Same old, man.
Hey, hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I can hear it good, man. This is pretty cool. I've never even heard of this before, so it's cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've been using it for a little while. Just been into podcasting. So, yeah, I want to hook you up with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor today to have on Joel Gibson Jr. I did a big spiel for you introduction-wise. I recorded earlier, so about all your accolades. And so we'll be putting this right before this starts. So thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. This is cool.
I know you're very busy. full-time gig and full-time singing.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. Like I said, we haven't had a chance to breathe in going on 5 years. It's been insane.
I got a few icebreaker questions for you. Pick your brain before we get going.
Absolutely.
If you could do a trio concert with yourself and two other musicians, past or present, as they say, we'll pick the Grand Ole Opry. Who you picking and why?
Ooh, that's a good one, man. I mean, right off the gate, I got to say Eric Church. That's a no-brainer with me, and that's regardless of when he's from. I would say Eric Church, Merle Haggard, and Kip Moore.
Okay. Yeah, I've kind of loved Eric Church's music, man. I've just kind of follow along. I think I met you, and I'm like, who's Eric Church? And I'm like, oh, he's got some pretty good songs. I mean, I hear your renditions, and I'm like, I love his music.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan. Always have been since day one with him. But yeah, big fan of music in general.
What are the 3 top locations or places you love to perform at that you never have yet?
Ooh, that I never have yet. I can't help but shoot for the stars on this one, man. I've always said the Gorge,
Okay.
Red Rocks over in Colorado, and definitely I'd have to say the Ryman or the Opry.
Okay. And if you weren't a musician, what would your other profession be if you weren't singing?
If I wasn't singing, besides my day job, which is not something I, grew up wanting to be, that's tough, man. I'd have to say, since now I have to sit here and actually really think about it, I would say I'd probably be in the police department, sheriff's department. I mean,
really?
mainly
Awesome.
because I started in the cadet program here in the Kitsap County Sheriff's Cadets when I was in high school. And, that's what I thought I wanted to do. And it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, God had other plans for you.
Yep.
Who's been one of your biggest inspirations in your life and why throughout your career, beginning and to where you're at now?
I would definitely say my wife, Brittany, is my biggest inspiration, mainly because she's just believed in me, not just as a husband and a father to our son, but just really encouraged me to get out here and do this music thing. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have done it without her push. I'd have just still be sitting here talking about it. Probably not to you, but
right.
I want to do that someday. So definitely her. Lifelong, that'd be my grandma who passed away in 2008. That I wrote Up in Heaven about. She always just believed in me no matter what I did. I couldn't do anything wrong.
And you wrote a song about her too, right?
Yep, it's called Up in Heaven. It's off our first acoustic EP.
And last question: what's your lifelong dream in your singing career, or you as a dad or a father, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's I would say it's multifaceted, but I would say definitely I'd love to be doing music in some capacity full time. Sustaining to be able to do that, whether it be being just a songwriter or being the one out there performing, or combination of both. And have my family with me the whole step of the way.
For some of those that they're listening to us now, can you give me a brief bio of who Joel Gibson Jr. is?
Yeah, so I was born in Tacoma, Washington, and Madigan Army Hospital. Both my parents served in the Army. They got divorced when I was around 2. So I spent my time primarily right here in Kitsap County throughout the year. And then on the summers, I'd go visit my mom, like a lot of, kids in those situations. I'd go down to California for a couple of years. But past that, I spent my summers in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, where she currently is. And that side of my family, her side is over there as well, which will be going in July to play some shows over there as well. Looking forward to that. Cool. Nice. It's been a minute since we've been over there, let alone seen my family. So it'd be cool to kind of double dip. And, they haven't gotten to see me play since I've been doing this in this capacity. So should be pretty fun. But
that'd be an awesome trip, I think.
Yeah. And then after beyond that, I've always been loving music, but I got my first guitar when I was 17 from a guy named Don Golden. He taught me how to play. And in a limited capacity, I would say he was a phenomenal guitar player, but I just, I can read music, but not to the point I could be in an orchestra. So it really lit that fire, and I started kind of playing. And I really only wanted to play and sing at the same time. I had no interest in just being a guitar player. Yeah. So that's why I always say I'm a singer that plays guitar, because most people see that there is a difference, there's a lot of phenomenal guitar players that can't sing, and vice versa, and I kind of ride that line really tightly as far as, I play just enough to get me by, and to write music. And that's really what I've always wanted to do. And so I started writing music, and playing naturally around my friends and family once I got comfortable, which took a very long time. And then, camping and gatherings and such with friends and family. But then about 10 years in and being with my wife, Brittany, they had a conversation, her and her friend one night. I had been posting videos on YouTube, around 2014 or so, which was scary as hell, for lack of better term, like what, they can be pretty cruel, as far as feedback. So I didn't know, I didn't have the confidence of what that was going to look like. And we were really blessed right out the gate to get a lot of good feedback. And to this day, the main one that we put out was Night Moves by Bob Seger, which is still the second most viewed that song on YouTube, which is crazy. But that was the catalyst. And basically she kind of had me in the, put up or shut up, let's do this. And from there, just by attrition, she got me a gig, and all our friends and coworkers, and it came out. They're like, holy crap, Joel's going out to sing in public. And and it was at the Best Western in Silverdale at the hotel down in the Teeny Lounge down there. And just, it was amazing. And it was from that point on, we have not slowed down. And I can't, if you talk about when you got hooked on something, it wasn't just the feedback. It was more or less like, I can do this. I think, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I can do this,
The bicycle's going down the hill. I don't know how it's getting there, but we're moving.
Yep. It's crazy.
So Brittany was kind of your mentor, kind of as you started your singing career. Keep it going. Don't give up. Don't quit.
Oh, big time. And the feedback, like I said, it's community. The community here is crazy, just on a lot of levels, but definitely our fan base that we've grown organically from literally the ground up has been very encouraging, helping us get the word out there. Social media is necessary, as we all know. Streaming and this, that, helps you reach a wider audience. But right out the gate, people are asking for CDs. And there was the younger crowd, younger than me, really looking at like CDs, like people just stream stuff. And I was like, I'm out here. People want like something physical to take from the show, and I'm here playing covers. And what it turned into is people wanted to hear my original music. So it forced us into the studio. Do
you remember your first song you ever sang, or you performed, where you performed it
at? First song is in, like, since I've been doing this, or just in general? Okay, because I can remember both, really.
Okay.
And one of them is because I was told. Yeah. This one, I think, when we're at the Martini Lounge, I did Night Moves. Because that's what was in my comfort zone at the time, and I was playing with another guy named Greg Leslie that was down there, that Brittany got us invited down to go kind of sit in and play. And then we ended up playing Merle Haggard's song called The Way I Am, which he had heard a cover on my YouTube channel of it. So we did those. But prior to that, my mom tells a story about me in Manchester State Park when I was about 3. And at the time, Born in the USA was brand new. And she was also a big John Mellencamp fan, and I still am a big fan of both of them. Huge inspirations from even the singer-songwriter level. And I was singing Born in the USA and Pink Houses. And so I still, every now and then, do like a little mashup of both those songs.
You've written a good number of songs, haven't you? How many songs have you written off the top of your head?
Ooh, I don't know. I'd probably say completed fully. I don't know. I'd probably, we're probably pushing, I don't know, around 70 or so. It's not super prolific, but I'm always writing, and I have ideas that go down. And I'm speaking of Bruce Springsteen, James Taylor, as a songwriter, they always say, if it doesn't, I like that philosophy. If it doesn't come back to you, if you don't write it down and it doesn't come back to the next day, then it's not worth really putting down on paper.
Right.
And so, one of my original songs called The Gift is one of those songs like that. I wrote it before our son was born, and right before he turned 11, I wrote the third verse to it, but I knew it wasn't done when I wrote it, but it came to me how fast he was growing, and that's how that third verse came about. And that's why we put it on our first album.
Was that your first song you wrote, or was there another song that your very first song that you originally
first one I wrote with my guitar, I would say, which I still call my first official song I wrote, is called Angel Beside You, which we haven't recorded. But I wrote it about my uncle who passed away in 1990 as my dad's brother. But it was like a lot of deaths in the family. It was very devastating because it was unfortunate, drunk driving accident, and it was local here in Kitsap, and he was well known. So,
Oh wow.
It was
So all
something.
your songs, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
A lot of your songs are life experiences, or just kind of just top of your head.
Everything comes to me. I like to say not everything, but naturally. I like stuff that comes organically to me. Sometimes it's the melody first. Sometimes it's a concept. Brittany's really good at giving me, I like to say, one-word ideas, song titles, or she comes at with, like a opening line of a chorus, and then we build the song around that. So a lot of times she does help me write it. If anything, from a very honest feedback perspective, because sometimes I'll write something and I think it's pretty solid, and then she goes, that needs work, or not even close, or let's fix this, so there's no ego stroking in this house. It's, we want to put out the best music that we can.
Right. Do you have one favorite song you're like, that's the song I just love?
Oh,
like picking your kids, huh? You have one, right?
It's hard not, definitely it's hard not to say The Gift, because that's the one I wrote for our son, but I would say that probably the most organic one that came out was the song called Learn, off our first full band album, the Joel Gibson Jr. album. And that was another one where Brittany, we call it the NyQuil song, because she, if anybody's had a fair amount of NyQuil before they went to bed, you get weird ass dreams.
Yeah.
And she woke up, and I was at work, I believe, and I came home. I didn't even come home. She called me in the middle. Yeah, she wasn't even quite awake yet. It was somewhat comical looking back on it, but she's like, I just have this thing, and you're at Wild Waves, and you're singing the song, and you did something, and I got pissed, and I walked away, but then you started singing this song, and she gave me the melody even. It was just like, learn, like, do this thing, and that's all she gave me. And for whatever reason, at the time, she was working back shift, and I got home, and we crossed paths, and she went to work, and for whatever reason, that song just stuck, and I wrote it. And all the while I'm thinking, like, why the hell was I playing a music show at Wild Waves? I've never seen this, but putting that out of my mind, I finished the song, and when she came home that same night, I was already up. I stayed up late, and I didn't even tell her I wrote it. I just started playing it in the kitchen, and she started crying. Like, she looked over, she's like, that's the damn song. Like, that is the song. And it was one of those rare occasions where I didn't really have to change anything. It was good as is, and I would say that one's one of my favorites for sure, if not my favorite, outside of The Gift, because it's probably a pretty even tie, just because of my emotional connection to The Gift. But this one was so natural right out the gate.
I actually sang it at Wild Waves too. Actually, it was a karaoke thing they had going on, and my sister-in-law dared me to do it. So I still had I'm from Arkansas. I had a twang still, so I sang the dance, and I think I nailed it. I was like, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But it was like, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's one of my favorite Garth songs too. It's cool.
Have you performed all over the PNW? For those listening to Pacific Northwest, is there a specific place you sit back and go, dang, I can't believe I sang there?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's still places I want to play, to call them pipe dreams, or, long-term goals kind of thing. But, everything's come in steps, I would say, or in waves, however you want to classify it. But, right out the gate, I was like, man, if I can ever play Whaling Days, which is our festival here in Silverdale that I've went to my whole life, since I can remember, every year, going to the parade, going to see the fireworks, going to see live music. It's like, man, if I can just be on that stage at this stage, like at this infancy piece, that's my goal. And then we got there, and it's like, okay, what's next? And we wanted to do something bigger, most recently, I'll say, I guess as an example, playing at the Hard Rock in Seattle was big.
Wow.
I thought that was it, because yeah, we played with a guy named Dylan Jacobson, who's now down in Nashville, but he's also from the PNW, and just a phenomenal guy, and had us out there. And that was pretty incredible to know that, so many iconic people have been through that venue and or played on that stage,
That is awesome.
Yeah, but we played a couple weeks ago. Local Billy's is our one. It's up in Stanwood, up in Washington. And I didn't even know going there, but the gal that booked us had pulled Brittany aside and shown her the pictures of people that played there. And this is like a pretty legit, country bar, like your old school line dancing. People go there to line dance and listen to country music, period. And Eric Church that played on that stage. Can't remember what year, but like 08, 09, and she had a picture of him, and I was like, well, we're done here. so far that's the Mecca. Naturally, like us, there's other venues I'd love to play, and I can't wait to hopefully get those opportunities to get there and put the work in to get there. But that was a big one for me just because of where he sits in my, who I look up to and
right.
the path that he taken.
I know you had conversations before. I met you at the diner a few times that you sang at, and you sang with some big names. You opened for some concerts for some big names. I know Eric Church is one of them. Is that the biggest name you opened with before, or somebody else?
No, we didn't. We've been to his concert a lot of times.
Okay, gotcha.
I would say not so much open for him. We haven't opened for, I wouldn't say anybody significant. I would say Paul Overstreet. If you guys are country music fans, he was big. You probably heard him.
Oh yeah.
But he's written, I think he's got 4 Grammys. 30 plus number ones. Yeah, Allie Colleen, which is Garth Brooks' daughter. We did a show with her. Ironically, both of those were different times, but they were both up at Bertelston Winery up in Mount Vernon, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul Overstreet was huge for me, and he was just the nicest guy. We had to hang out with him, and me being me, I'm riding that line of being a professional artist and then being a huge fan, because I was like,
right.
can we do Daddy's Come Around to Mama's Way of Thinking? Like, can we play this stuff? And about I knew I couldn't really go there, but I just had thousands of questions for him. But he was just so kind, and we got good feedback from him. So
that's awesome.
Same with Allie Colleen. She was super cool, and it was the first time up in the Pacific Northwest, and we were able to play, open for her essentially, and then Brittany ran the sound, and it was quite the eventful day. It was good.
Yeah, I'm a big '80s country. I love Aaron Tippin and Clint Black, and all Sammy Kershaw. Those guys. I love those '80s country stars back in the days.
Yeah, I like to say that was the golden era. That's when you could turn on the radio station and know you were listening to a country station.
Yep.
That's the stuff I like.
And you got a new album out, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it came out June of last year.
Okay.
Small Town Truth.
Is your third one, correct?
Yeah, it's our third one. Second full band, but counting our solo acoustic album, that's I would say I guess they classify it as our sophomore album. Since
what's it like writing an album? Did it take a lot of time and effort and just a lot of brain power?
Yeah, I think collectively this one was unique, because naturally we had songs in the bank, and then we had stuff that we knew we wanted. We were still writing, doing stuff, and doing all this during a pandemic was pretty wild, and just all the logistics that go into it,
mm-hmm.
Not just the writing. It's really getting the band together, knowing that we wanted to get our similar musicians into the studio, finding a studio that would take the full band under COVID restrictions and record the album was another hurdle that was crazy, that obviously nobody really expected. But we knew we wanted to get new music out. We were really anxious, naturally, like a lot of people thought the pandemic would end sooner, so we wanted to be ready. We wanted to be ready, and everything lined up perfectly. Brittany put a lot of work in getting everything set up, and the band coming over here and doing rehearsals, making sure the arrangements were how we wanted. So when we went in the studio, everything would come out somewhat flawlessly, or
mm-hmm.
as smooth as possible. And that's really what happened. We went to Robert Lang Studios over in Shoreline, which is a really iconic recording studio in the Seattle area. A lot of people have been there, and again, kind of like where I go on certain stages or different areas, it was really intimidating, knowing all the plaques on the walls and stuff. If you're a local person, President of the United States of America, sang Lump and Kitty in these songs, Dave Matthews Band, Heart, Nirvana. Peter Frampton was just there a few weeks before we were there, so it was pretty incredible. And then they had to go one step further, and when they're setting up my vocal mic that I used, which was a U47 Newman, really nice old school mic. He's like, no pressure, but this is the one Kurt Cobain cut vocals on. So, best of luck to you. And so to say we felt out of place, but still felt like we belonged, is probably a pretty accurate statement. It was really intimidating.
Country boy in the city town.
Yeah. And then, but it was really inspiring at the same time, right? It was like, wow, like we're here. Like, what did we do to get here?
Right.
Minus paying to go, but like, it was a really good confidence booster. And, we really hope people and the feedback we're getting is good, but really hope we put out a good album, good body music that people like. With quality.
I met your wife, and she's a pretty amazing manager as well, isn't she? I bet she keeps you in check, doesn't she?
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's, and I realistically and in all honesty, I couldn't do it without her at all. And that's not just saying it to say it, it's not because she's my wife too.
Right.
It's, she does so much behind the scenes to make everything smooth, not just for me, but for the band, for the venues, when she's working with other booking agents, other people, she's getting the information out there, managing the social medias, the website, the online store. Our online store does really well, so all those logistics, the post office runs, the bank runs, all these things, it's a lot, and I'm at work all day, and then I get off work and then I'm in music mode.
Right. So can you tell me about, you do your own kind of concerts, and you have your band. You can tell us about the band and what you guys do as well.
So we still, so I still do solo stuff, a lot. Then we have our band, but I think what's unique about our brand, and by brand, I mean just Joel Gibson Jr. Music, because we do run this like a business. It's an LLC. Mm-hmm. We do something I feel is a lot different from most other artists. I can't say everyone, but most, that we do solo. I could do duo, trio, or we do the full band. So sometimes I'll bring my guitar player with me, or my cajon player, my drummer, but on a cajon, which is the box that you slap on. And we'll do a trio or a duo, and we're able to tailor and cater to different events, different venues, based on their size or crowd, acoustics, whatever that may be. And that's really what's helped us grow too, is just
they're the hired guns, correct?
They were originally out the gate.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably a good segue. So no, now it's just Joel Gibson Jr.
Okay.
That's why when we advertise the band, if it's a band show, it's going to be a band picture.
Gotcha.
But really what that started was because it was the first time I ever had a band, and I had to build a band from scratch, and I didn't know anybody. So I, through attrition and contacts, found different musical players to build this band. But I was still doing primarily solo stuff because people either A, didn't know I have a band, or most importantly, B, I didn't know how to play with a band.
Right.
Yet. So it was something I had to learn, and really do rehearsals and kind of figure out what our set list was going to be, and how to really get out there and do that. So it was like shifting gears.
And you did something unique here in the Kitsap County. This is a kind of two-part question.
Yeah.
You said about the tailgate tours and the couch concerts, which I followed on Facebook a lot. And I doing through requests occasionally when I was cooking dinner for the kids.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tailgate tours and the couch concerts. How that concept came to be?
Right out the gate, the tailgate tour, the couch concert, and the Anchors Down, which is the waterborne version of the tailgate tour, were all Brittany, all my wife. Those are all her ideas. I can't even remotely stake claim to even a piece of it. And it was born off of us doing the couch concert. Really, that's how the tailgate tour started. It was mental health awareness was a big thing, which is something we really support because of COVID. Amplified that, and we saw a lot of people just like, I need to be out. I need to be around people. Like, as a human, I need to gather.
Yep.
And I understand it's serious, and this is not political. It's just, people are missing it very quickly. I would say maybe I could be generous and say a month, but you're looking at a few months, and people can't go to the bar, or they can't go watch live entertainment on whatever level.
Yeah.
It was truly affecting people, and statistically it was. And we're like, how do we do this? And Brittany saw, so this is how the tailgate tour started. Brittany saw an online thing on Facebook or something, maybe Instagram, of a photographer going around to people's houses and taking socially distanced photos of them, like on their porch.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, how do we do this? Like, maybe we can bring our truck and bring our sound equipment and a cooler and our merch and a tip jar, and they can just chuck us an extension cord or whatever they're comfortable with, and they can plug in, and we'll play a concert for like an hour maybe 2 hours, you know. And I was like, that's crazy. Nobody's gonna want to do that. And so we put it out there, and we put out, I think, 16 of them. I think originally, like, oh, let's see if we can even remotely close get 16 people that aren't scared to have somebody over
Right.
at their house or on their property, you know. And it was gone. And I'm talking lightning fast.
That's
And we're
awesome.
like, holy shit. And so we did 16 of them in 4 days.
Wow.
And by the end of that original 2020 tailgate tour, we did 60. And that was all around the county, and a couple of them, I think we did one in Pierce County too, and like Fox Island and such up there, and Mukilteo, you know. And it was insane. And the same with the couch concert that started at the beginning of the pandemic, where I just I got to sing, I got to play to somebody somehow. But I grew, I think, with everybody else, that you were just stuck, you were quarantined, you know, nowhere to go. Like, I'll just sit here and watch my phone, or, you know, stream it through my TV. It's like, well, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what virtual tip jars are, but we'll figure it out, you know. And that just kind of grew. But the great thing about not only the tailgate tour and the couch concert, to your point, is we reached people that we would never probably reach
Yeah.
in any other venue. And we got that feedback verbatim. Like, I had no idea who you were. And now, you know, the segue from the couch concert and tailgate tour, the word of mouth has been insane with us specifically. It's people sharing stuff on social media. You know, their friends and their family come to town. They're like, hey, we got to go see Joel. You know, you're going to like him. And they're like, I hate country music. They're like, you're going to like him. Just trust me. You know, and that's still our biggest feedback.
And you're not just country. You sing. I've seen you several times. I watched you several times. You cover, I think, anything someone throws at you, you're like, I'll go to try. Sure. You're not scared of nothing, it seems like.
No, there's not a lot of soft limits on our set list, you know, especially when I'm solo, because naturally the band's a little different scenario, because they may or may not know it, or they're not comfortable playing something they haven't played before. But I'm even they're coming around to that too.
Yeah. I saw Brittany as well singing with you, doing a few songs as well.
Yes, that takes a little bit of a whole lot of encouragement, and maybe some liquid courage too, to be truthful. Yeah.
Can you tell us about your website and how can people follow you and, you know, find some concerts and can hook up with you?
Yeah, so we're on most social media: Facebook, Instagram, all that's Joel Gibson Jr. Spotify, all the major streaming services are all Joel Gibson Jr. Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Prime. We just started the TikTok journey. Don't laugh at us yet. We're figuring that out too.
I follow you. You're good.
Yeah. The website is joelgibsonjrmusic.com. And that's where we keep our event calendar on there, as well as on Facebook. And then monthly, we put out just a specific post that we typically pin for a certain amount of time at the top that shows what our dates are for that month. You know, so we try and, couch concert. We got one coming up March 16th, couch concert live on Facebook.
Okay.
So next week, prior to that, that's a big one. Tailgate tour dates. If you're local, tailgate tour dates are dropping on the 15th next week. If you get on our Facebook, Instagram, we got the dates on there of what's going to be available, and that's all booked through Messenger or email, reaching out to us specifically.
And then you got hats, you got CDs, you got shirts, all kinds of apparel.
Yeah. Online stores is pretty, I would say, fairly robust for you know, a low level local musician. You know, I mean, we got all koozies and stickers and hats and shirts, and, you know, promoting our music any way we can. Yeah, our new album's on vinyl, 12-inch vinyl, if you're got a record player.
So, you know, I've just talked to you about everything, I think, and my podcast is about encouraging people. If there's someone out there saying it's kind of dabbing in their foot in the music industry, kind of playing the guitar a little bit, not sure about what they want to do, could just share some encouragement for someone kind of dabbling, going, I'm not sure if I can do this. You know, I'm scared to sing in front of people. What would you say to someone who's kind of in that area?
I would say, with us, you know, the open mics, I guess my very first step would be go see how you feel from a confidence level at an open mic night. If even go start watching it, you know, go as a patron, go watch other people play, you know, and see what they do and see how uncomfortable they are in some cases, in a lot of cases, and build your confidence. And then when you're ready, you know, sign up, put your name on that sheet and go up there and play a song or two or three, you know, depending on what their setup is. Sometimes they do 15 minutes, sometimes it's 3 songs. And I would say that's definitely where to start, and then get the feedback from there. Because to me, everything is about building the confidence level to go do it.
You don't know to even try.
No, because mine admittedly took a very long time. I got my first guitar when I was 17, and I didn't start playing until after my mid 20s. I was way after that. Like I said, I've been doing this 4 years, and I'll be 40 in November. So
40, wow.
Yeah. So like I said, you can do the long run like me, or you can go out there and just break that cycle and just go learn. Really absorb it and talk to people. Network is a big thing too. Ask questions. I'm always here to ask questions.
Try. Yep. I agree with you 100%. I've always been a big fan of yours, and I wish you and your family nothing but success in all you do. And I just, when you make it big time, don't forget the little people.
I hear that all the time, but I ain't forgetting nobody, man. I do meet a lot of people, but I love the Northwest, man. This is my home. And
I wish you the best in everything you do. I've always enjoyed seeing you, and meeting you. The few times at the Torpedo Town Diner when it was around, and just hard getting around to see you. But I definitely will plan on hooking up with you sometime. And thank you. And I love how you had your boss in the behind your scenes helping you out to answer some questions. That was awesome too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I get too long winded, or I get off on a tangent on something. But on that note, though, real quick, man, if I can say something real quick.
Sure.
I really wanted to make it a point to say thank you to you, Jody, and to the Torpedo Town Diner. So many venues really took a chance on us and still continue to take a chance on us. But thank you for allowing us to come in there, because I still talk about the Torpedo Town and their acoustics and your staff and just the memories that I have there. So thank you for believing in us and giving me this opportunity to be on your podcast.
I love being a roadie for you when you came in. That was always fun.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor, privilege, and anytime you want to come back on, share a song, whatever you want to do, I'd love to have you on. And my podcast is about encouraging people any way I can. If it's just to talk to somebody, and if they're having some tough times. I've had a lot of people on here last few weeks. I had a mom who wrote a book about her son who passed away, a good friend of mine. So I just want to encourage people to get out and listen to you, check your music out, buy some apparel. Joel Gibson Jr. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jody. I appreciate you, man.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today as we had a great interview and phone conversation with Joel Gibson Jr. as he picked his brain about his music and what kind of got him going in the music field, and it was just fun catching up with Joel Gibson Jr. Also, check out his website, joelgibsonjrmusic.com, for all his events, apparel you can purchase as well. And I hope you can continue to follow Chit and Chat and spread it with others as we share encouragement with others and reach out to anyone we can. This is Chit and Chat. This episode of Chit and Chat was brought to you by Veteran Roasters Coffee. Each purchase of Veteran Roasters Coffee helps employ one of tens of thousands of U.S. military veterans who have found hardship and difficulty upon transitioning home from service. They promise you the best beans from the best veteran-owned coffee company. Veterans helping veterans, one cup at a time. Use the code CHITCHAT25 to receive 25% off your purchase at veteranroasters.com.